Thank you and welcome to Big Talk here on Global Television. I'm Muyi Agumofwebe. In the last couple of months, particularly in the lifetime of the current administration of President Bola Tinubu, we have seen so much of, some people will call it a crisis. In some cases, they say it's bad blood between the federal government and the organized labor. We've seen threats of strike. We've seen real strikes. Of course, we have also seen the federal government and labor delegations come to dialogue, all in the bid to find lasting solutions to all of these nagging problems, with particular focus on the welfare of workers. Whether or not those efforts have paid off just yet is a different kettle of fish. In the meantime, just today, for example, Labour is now saying that all of the reports claiming there's some imminent strike around the corner, all right, should be discarded, as there is no truth in that. In the meantime, the question of whether or not the federal government has been able to provide palliatives for Nigerian workers in light of the removal of fuel subsidy and considering the current economic realities that Nigerians are now subjected to will form part of our conversation. On the show tonight, I'm joined by the National Vice Chairman, Medical and Health Workers Union of the NPHCDA chapter, Comrade Hassan Yakubu, to help us just find some context and perspectives on tonight's discussion. Thank you, Hassan, for making it to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I'd like us to start, first of all, by one of the many planks, all right, that have now formed the basis for continuous interface between Labour and the federal government, which is the welfare of workers. How is it that every time we talk about welfare, it has to always do basically with upward review of salaries?
Thank you very much. Like you understand, our country, if you said labor, you shouldn't look at it from the angle of people in the formal sector alone. The young man in the market there is an integral part of labor union. The motor park organization, they are an integral part of labor movement. And every action of government affects the life of every members of this organization. And that is why whenever issue concerning political decision, concerning people who go straight talking about labor.
It's interesting because, first of all, just as the fuel subsidy issue was raging, Labour was saying, minimum wage is currently at 30,000. We would rather it is reviewed upwards to 200,000. So that's the reason I asked the question whether or not welfare is all about salary.
When you say the minimum wage is now 30,000, selected, stratified, there are some states in this country that are not paying.
They are not even paying the 30,000.
They are not paying
So what are they paying then?
So you go to some states.
Are they still paying the old 18,000?
You'll be hearing percentage salary. You'll be hearing owing salaries, owing the civil servant for the past 9 months. In that situation, that is why I use the word stratified 30%.
But we also need to acknowledge some governors, for example, like Edo and Imo, where we have seen this kind of, I think 40,000 is what they are now doing. Isn't that a welcome development?
We are still studying their process yet.
But they've been paying, at least in the case of Edo.
It is not yet confirmed. When I use the word confirmed, some of these governors, some of these leaders, they use political manipulation.
How do you mean political
manipulation? If you look at Imo, it is before the 11th November election that the issue of 40% minimum wage came up. And this is a government that our national NLC president went there to have assembly of civil servants. And at the end of the day, our national president was brutalized. Which you are aware that up till now, if the situation is smooth, will there be that kind of controversy? If the situation is smooth, Will there be that kind of controversy? Pensioners? All these people, they are complaining. So that's why I use the word, the 40,000 was an independent variable to manipulate the electorate for the November 11 election. So that is why I use the word to you. The 40% is a political statement.
So that again probably sparks the question of what more should the government do for Labour to say they are well taken care of or their welfare is prioritized? Does it start and end with salary payments?
Look, the infrastructure that we have been calling for government to set up, what are we facing today? Issue of subsidy. How can we be an oil producing, the 6th largest oil producing nation in the world? We are taking our crude oil to the other country, refine it, selling it in a currency that we don't use in our country. And that's why our local economic capacity is going down every day. And that's why we are suffering. Do you understand me? If we are a country that we are building our infrastructure, that man going to farm, that man going to farm can have an enabling environment to go to his farm. That man operating a POS can have a very good quality internet to operate his POS. That our educational institution can have access to quality educational materials in our various public institutions. This kind will be our limit. So if there is no infrastructure, you cannot continue saying why labor is being used as a center of agitation is because it's the umbrella. You understand me? It's the umbrella that carried, because we are the one that carry money to the market, circulate to that man at his village. Now, example. How many of you in your office are coming with your cars to the office? How many of you?
We have not counted. Maybe we need to.
No, I say how many of you from your office?
Maybe we need to do a census.
How many of you? Do we have the enabling environment? Yes. Tinubu came. He said, one of our problem, he's not going to pay subsidy again. But it's a good decision. But do we have that enabling environment for the downtrodden to cope with the situation we are finding ourselves now?
The federal government has said that by end of December, at least one refinery will be up and running. Does that not give some real hope?
Tinubu came into power 29th of May. Is that also my brother? From that 29th of May that he produced, he made the statement of subsidy removal. Do you know I will use the word calamity the citizens of this country have been facing? Even the 35% that they claim that they are giving to civil servant, that 35% we only collect it once.
So what happened? Why
once.
Has it not
and up till now, last month, we didn't collect. The month before last month, we didn't collect. Today, we are in December. And that is where the rumor of labor is preparing to go on strike on 18. That is where the rumor is emanating from.
But did Labour, I mean, from your insider understanding, did Labour actually mute the idea of going on strike?
You know, in the last conversation between the federal government and Labour, this agreement was put on the table. And Labour told them if this agreement was not met, there's going to be a nationwide strike. And that is why people are carrying out that rumor. You know, before there will be strike, there will be a neck where they take decision.
Of the organized labor?
Yes, there will be a neck where this decision is being taken. So if you are talking of development infrastructure is the basis.
Does Labour ever go on strike over issue of infrastructure? It has always been about other salaries that have not been paid.
Sorry.
Or salaries that have not been reviewed.
That is why sometimes we media,
I'm just asking.
new media houses.
I'm just asking because every time we say Labour, it's apparently because they're agitating for salaries to be reviewed upward, or they are saying, look, their pensioners who are going to be paid.
Are you aware that there was a time Labour went on strike for 90,000 for bed space in the university?
How often do we see that happen beyond?
2003.
Which is 2 decades ago.
It's not up to almost
20 years ago.
Thank you very much. You understand me?
So in the last 20 years, it's been about salary.
Labour has been the one that
and pensions.
Always at the forefront, telling the federal government the significance of putting the refinery in order. Buhari promised to give us to build refinery every year of his tenure. Throughout 8 years, are we able to achieve? And when Tinubu came, yes, he came with the idea. But there are a lot of piled problems that is yet to be addressed before we know subsidy is a scam. It's a scam.
So why is Labour not pressing that the scammers be brought to book? I mean, if you say a system is riddled, riddled with scam, it's not only natural that you also say, let's find.
When I use that word to you, let me tell you, government, when I use the word subsidy is a scam. Every day, do you know the statistics of the fuel that's being used in this country? Why up till today, NNPC cannot say it, yes, Nigeria is using 3 million liters of fuel every day.
Why is that difficult to do?
Well, we don't know. We don't know. So if it is not a scam, trillions of nairas that is being spent on subsidies, what is wrong? Kuwait has large quantum of gas. They don't have this problem. Saudi Arabia, they have oil. They don't have this problem. Why are we the only one, Nigeria, the most populous black nation in the world? Why are we the only one that we are facing these challenges of fuel subsidy, paying fuel subsidy, to the detriment of our infrastructure? Look at the budget now. At the end of the day, citizens will not feel the impact of the various projects that is being planned for. And that is why issue of this poor refinery operation has been in existence in almost 3 decades. That our refinery has worked to a productive capacity. Oil touch all sector of the economy, and that's why anything that affects PMS touches every sector of the economy. The man in the village that wants to bring his farm product to the market, he needs a mobility.
I want to take you quickly as we begin to wrap up real soon. I want to take your mind a little away from the central. Let's talk about River States. Of course, you are not ignorant, I'm sure, of the crisis in River States between the governor, Fubara, and his predecessor, and how that is affecting governance in that state. Of course, the organized labor, especially the NLC, has also been very vehement with regards to their position on this matter. They say the governor has been distracted, and as such, governance has not been stable in the state. Talk to me about what the real position of Labour is in this matter.
You see, do we have democracy?
Even in River State?
No, do we have democracy? I'm asking you, do we have democracy?
So what we call this government that the system of government will practice,
if
right?
You are in a society that you allowed every rascal decision to be taken, how can somebody that have been rule Rivers for 8 years Issue of Godfatherism, Wike is not the first person. He came out public to say it. He bought form for the entire aspirant who emerged, who win. And at the end of the day, it now became a challenge to the will of progress of Rivers State. If INEC, if our electoral process is good, yes, if you were voted for in AA, Alliance, AA party.
That's Action Alliance.
Action Alliance. Are you supposed to leave that party and the camp?
They were saying
so
defection
we are waiting.
For many years.
If you look, we are waiting.
Who, Labour?
Well, I said yes, we are waiting.
Okay.
How judiciary and INEC, because by our constitution, there is a section in our constitution. Sorry, I'm not a legal practitioner, but I knew that there is a section that said if you are moving from one party to the other,
you vacate the seat.
You vacate the seat.
But a judge has ruled in this immediate case of Rivers now that INEC has no powers to conduct elections to fill those 26, of course there's 27 seats, but the order is particular about 26 of those seats. So there's nothing you and I can do about that apparently, unless of course that matter is escalated to higher courts.
Yes, thank you. I think you have answered yourself. Since me and you cannot interpret the legal fire there properly, the first court has just make their own declaration. It will go to the second court.
So I was actually very particular about what Labour is doing in the face of this crisis in Rivers State, because apparently Labour has a role to play in all of this. We're seeing Labour leaders in that state, including the chairman of NLC.
See, look, don't drag Labour quickly into this matter.
But Labour is already involved. I'm not the one dragging them apparently.
You understand me? Don't use our own as point of
reference
for now.
But that's only timely and is a reality.
You understand?
Labour is
even the Labour
about,
Party,
yes,
the Labour Party that said they have withdrew their petition against the candidate of Fabara. It's like I told you. For now, we are still watching the judiciary and INEC.
Oh, that's what Labour is doing.
We are still watching. We are still watching.
In terms of Rivers or Nigeria?
I said, let me tell you something. Tinubu, he has good intention. And Tinubu shouldn't allow these political criminals that has brought this country down for several years to bring him down. That is why you see when Tinubu came in to government and he announced subsidy removal, NLC gave him all the support.
Does he still have that support now?
You see, as times goes on, that is why if we plan to go on strike, you understand me, our leadership are still tolerating him because of his good intention. They are still tolerating because of his economic blueprint.
I need to narrow down a little. There was a time the organized labor, the national leadership of the organized labor said they were not comfortable negotiating with the federal government with Simon Lalong as the focal person. Incidentally, Simon Lalong has left that office now. He has formally resigned. The president has accepted his resignation. He's now a senator in Plateau State. Do you think the negotiations between the federal government and the organized labor will be better now?
You see, this thing is about interest. Labor interest is for the welfare of Nigerians.
So you think that interest is better protected without Simon Lalong in the picture?
See, I cannot give that response outrightly. I cannot give that response outrightly. Yes, you may be the negotiator today. Maybe your style does not favor, and what we are interested in is the interest of Nigerian. It can be anyone. If you look at Ngege, he faced the same challenge with us because of his approach. I think his method. I cannot bring his method, criticize his method on this national television.
President Bola Tinubu,
yeah.
talking about methods now, on the final note, President Bola Tinubu, from what I've heard, every time I speak with union leaders in this country, they say he's more of a labor-friendly president than maybe former president.
I think I don't belong to that school of thought.
Okay, so what's your own school of thought? What do you
for
believe?
now,
is it too early
you
to
cannot,
judge?
it's too early to say
Even after
100%
labor
labor friendly.
Even after 7 months.
I said it's too early for you to say it's 100% labor friendly.
That sounds like Labour is not impressed with the president's outing so far.
See, look. Tinubu have plan for the country. Yeah, but his ability, his capacity to overcome those challenges, if he's able, just like he announced subsidy removal, and from May 29 till today, he's able to put some palliative or some strategies that now, 3 months, the refinery should be working. Not telling us December. Do you know how we have suffered? From May till December. Do you know how we have suffered? How Nigeria has suffered?
Incidentally, I think you and I will have to have this discussion again. Comrade Hassan Yakubu, National Vice Chairman, Medical and Health Workers Union, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency chapter, for coming to have this conversation with us. We do appreciate it.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my...
I should also say thank you.
I'll call you comrade.
Yes.
One thing I would like to
point out
here is, see, labor
is
the center, welfare, good welfare. That is why we need a president that is welfare driven.
Exactly. So, incidentally, on that note, I mean, you've made a very valid point. It's a wrap on the show, everyone. Thank you so very much for watching. Up next is News Cycle.
Thank you.